Hi, I'm Bran, and I love the Chicken Sisters.
Hi, I'm Jax, and I like the Chicken Sisters.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I despise the Chicken Sisters, and this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Wow, hello
boy.
everybody. Welcome to another episode of Deck the Hallmark.
Merry Christmas. Are you happy to be in the Christmas season right now,
It's great.
Brian?
Between the groomsmen and the Chicken Sisters.
All Christmas movies all the time. You know what I mean?
Dan. You know, the nice thing, though, is, Dan, is a lot of people think that Christmas movie magic is only a game for Christmas. And I say, why should that be the case? You can play it with anything.
You know,
can play
our,
with the groomsmen, you can play with the Chicken Sisters, and you can have a lot of fun.
Our amazing producer, Aaron Shea, was
Yes.
sick this week, and we hate that. But the silver lining of her sickness sounds terrible was
down
that
with the
she is
sickness.
now 100% in love with the Christmas movie magic game. Okay, am I wrong? 100%. Like,
It's the best.
it's a
And
you
fun
want to
fact.
turn her mic on so she
Oh,
can say
yeah,
it?
sorry, Aaron. Hi.
What?
I was say, yeah, that card game kept me company. I've been watching a lot of Hallmark Christmas movies, and even movies I've seen a dozen times, locked in.
Yeah.
I am trying to figure out if Lindy Booth is drinking hot cocoa or hot coffee in Rocky Mountain
It's the
Christmas.
thing, it's the thing separating you
So-
from 2 points.
That's right. What in the world's
Yeah.
in that mug? What you
Like,
got in that
I
mug?
need to know what's in that mug, Lindy Booth.
Tell
right.
me.
Yeah.
I need to play this card.
And
So,
also, Patrick
locked in.
Serrano said at the marathon, it's like solitaire. And I thought that was a bit much. I thought maybe he had gone to hyperbole with talking about all the great things you could do with this game. But it turns out I'm wrong.
Yeah.
As per usual, you need to get the game.
We're really
Is
excited.
what I'm saying.
We're really excited for people to get their paws on this sucker and start playing with it. It's a lot of fun, and it wasn't going to be available to the public until next week, but it's out now.
It's out right now.
It's out right now.
Unbelievable.
They
you can go to Amazon and get a copy
That's
of
right.
Christmas Movie Magic right now.
That's right. DeckTheHallmark.com/game. It'll bring you right there,
Yeah.
and we're really looking forward to people playing it and letting us know what you think of it, because I think it's a lot of fun, Dan.
Fantastic.
Personally, Jax, hi, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I feel like I need to redeem myself because Dan wiped the floor with me
Yeah.
in that game.
I didn't
He
want
really
to bring
did.
it up, but we also
No,
played
but
it
it's
during
true.
Take It to the Tape with a decom.
Yes.
We took out the specifically Christmas cards. So there's cards in there that are like, there's a wrap gift or a shopping bag. Those aren't specifically Christmas cards. You can play this game without it being a Christmas movie. We did it then, and I won then. So I'm undefeated.
I'm still mad about it.
He's
I'm undefeated at Christmas Movie Magic. So I don't want to say anything, but since you brought it up, Jax, thank you so much. Undefeated Christmas Movie Magic.
But Jax, you're in the game.
Rematch.
You're in the game industry, so for
I
you
am
to
in the
say
game
that it's a
biz.
good game, I
big
think
deal.
it's pretty high praise.
It is a great game. And I just have a follow-up question. So, Aaron, one, I hope you're feeling better. But it sounds like the way you said she's been sick is like she was out for weeks. I saw her just a mere few days ago, and
She's been out
back
pretty
in the
much all
back.
week. She's been out pretty much all week. I know.
Oh,
She'll
Aaron.
come in and she'll do her producer duties.
Yeah, she did. She's been, skeleton crew here this
I
week.
tried to
She's
tell her
been
to come
yes.
home or stay home. Dan was insistent. She come
I
in.
was kind of upset when she wasn't here when I opened the door this
Yeah.
morning. It was like, where's my coffee?
With a donut, with a parlor donut.
It's,
Right,
you know,
because she knows that you need the straw in the coffee.
does, yeah.
Is that right?
I was scrambling on Monday. I'll say that much. I didn't know what was.
Dan's the Frank Jr. of the office. He
All right.
just says
This is all good fun. How dare
don't
you?
slander my name.
How dare you?
Don't slander it.
Yeah.
No, because Dan is all about taking down the patriarchy,
That's right.
and he's self-aware.
I just need a straw in my coffee
Yeah.
delivered to me in
Yeah.
my recliner. Thank you.
It does sound. You got to admit, it does sound so like
It
some
doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound.
Yeah.
I'll
Frank
admit it
Jr.
doesn't
might.
sound great.
Frank Jr. might
Yeah.
expect that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Jax, are you missing Greenville yet?
I'm missing Greenville. I'm missing you guys. I got a little sad when I was thinking about the end of the Chicken Sisters, and I was like, wait, Deck the Netflix.
Deck the
Yeah.
Netflix is coming.
And there's some doozies
Yeah.
this year. We're really
Hot
looking forward to.
Frosty?
We're gonna do a
Hot Frosty, baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
She's not too old for Netflix, I'll tell you that.
That's right. You said it.
Deck the Netflix preview show coming up. I believe it's next week,
thank
which we're
God.
really looking forward to. There's a handful of movies, and we're going to talk about them and all that good stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully, Jax, we don't have to wait much longer for you to come back to Greenville because it's wonderful. And of course, that Greenville, Visit Greenville is our location sponsor all holiday season long. And it's a reminder, if you want to be like Jax and witness the magic of Greenville,
Of a
come on
Hallmark
down.
town, an actual Hallmark town during the holidays.
You would say that that's true.
100%. Here's the thing. I am like a New York City gal through and through. I love it here. But this is what I told the guy in the plane who was telling me how magical Greenville is. I was like, I love it in Greenville. I was like, I wouldn't move there permanently, but I would stay for months at a time. I love my friends there. I love the community there. And I just think it is an adorable, adorable town that still feels like there's enough going on, but it has all the charm of the big town, but with the excitement of a city.
That's right.
Yeah,
you,
you get it. That's a great
you and
sell.
Alex are considering getting your, I believe it would be your fourth
home. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's all that bubbly
would
stuff.
be in-
Money is
would
what
be
it
in
is.
We have all that bubbly such money rolling in. We've got one in the south of France.
Yeah, of course.
A flat in London.
Flat.
Our
Yeah.
apartment
I
in
think
exactly.
this is why you're keeping Alex from Greenville from coming down and visiting and spending time with us, because you don't want
That's right.
him to get hooked on
I mean-
Greenville. You know that he would.
You now, and
I know he-
no word on if you're going to be here for the Deckies, which we're going to sell tickets to at some point, I'm sure. You now come down here twice a year already. You have 2 standing appointments to be in Greenville. So I mean, it's pretty much it's getting to the point where you're going to need a place. You know what I mean?
Well, if we would do the in between. So, for example, if next year we knew for sure I was doing the marathon and then the Deckies, wouldn't it make sense just for me to
Yeah.
stay on through?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the holidays.
Yeah, you basically get to stay for the holidays. Deckies is January
Yeah.
18th.
Which is really when Greenville thrives.
Yeah.
I know people say that New York thrives at
no,
Christmas. I
no.
say,
You don't want to. You want to Greenville
if.
for Christmas, not New York.
I'm just, not New York. I'm just worried about Alex's love of Bran is very intense.
Yeah.
Like he gave $100 twice just so he could have Bran take off his shirt for the Blitz.
Yeah.
So that bromance, I don't know if I stand a chance with
That's
that.
true.
You
That's
don't,
true.
and I think that that's
That's fair.
understandable.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean that you guys can't still have a happy, thriving relationship.
that's
mean, it
true.
kinda does.
With your bromance. Yeah.
Well, just like just know that we like I get to hang out with him on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
That's right.
You get the rest of the week, and
It's more than generous.
Oh, right.
I know
Yeah,
I'm
that's
being
work.
super generous.
Yeah.
It's mainly I have kids, so
Yeah.
like
That's true.
like my kid I can't miss more than 2 days, but I think that this is more than fair. All that to say, Greenville, South Carolina, they're gonna love this one. Come on down, it's a lot of fun. Are we ready to dive into the Chicken Sisters?
I would love to, Bran.
Chicken Sisters, the season finale. Episode
Should have been
8.
called a little bit of chicken fried, is what it should have been called. It was not called that, though.
Instead-
That's good. A little bit of chicken fried, y'all.
Yeah.
So the IMDb title is just Gaslight, I think is what it's called. But the episode on Hallmark Plus is called The Best Chicken in Town, y'all.
Oh my gosh. It's just bad.
The Best Chicken in Town,
You're
y'all.
making it bad on purpose.
Well, we'll see. And it went a little something like this. We see the arguments that led to the breakup of Franny and Mimi way back when. Franny's husband said that he was the father to Mimi's child. But Mimi insists that can't be so. Franny decides to run the business with Sherman, or her husband, and Mimi, turns out, was telling the truth all along. It wasn't Sherman that fathered the child. The father of the child sends Mimi a letter with some money saying, I can't be around, I can't be a father. And so with no one around to help her, Mimi gives the baby up for adoption and starts a new business of her own. We then see Frankie, in present day, discover that letter in a box of family stuff. Cut to Amanda and May in the hospital finding out that their mom has MS. I know about your MS.
Know about your
which
MS.
she wanted to keep under wraps, but this is ultimately what ended up causing her fainting.
And they find a way to get her wherever she needs to go in that wheelchair with
They
no
do.
problems. There's
They
open
do.
access.
Yes.
It's fully accessible.
They understand how important that is,
Yeah.
and they do what they need to at any
Accessibility
given time.
favors all of us, and they get
Yes,
that.
including those with MS. Hallmark Plus is where this
Aired.
show
That's
aired.
right. Purely fictional situation where Gus is in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
with MS, and they make sure that that doesn't keep her from enjoying all the benefits of being a human being that everyone else gets.
That's right.
Which is for a full 42 minutes.
You love to see it.
Which I thought was really bold
Really
and brave.
nice. It was really nice.
It was good stuff.
The question now is, where is Gus going to live now that her house is burned down? She overhears Kenneth telling May that Gus is welcome to live at the inn, but Gus is a proud woman, so we'll see how that goes. We've seen Nancy is getting rid of a bunch of Frank Sr. stuff, finally. She calls Amanda to check on Gus, and she fills her in on what's going on, and they both say that they love each other, and that was sweet. When she gets home, Amanda accuses Frank Jr. of calling the health inspector, which he denies, and he comforts her while also trying to continue to turn her against her family, saying that he bets May knew about the MS. May knew about the MS. May didn't know about the MS, and also didn't know that her old TV show isn't doing so well until she gets a phone call inviting her to come back and co-host Sparkle. They need her. They want her back, and the network is going to pay big bucks. And it's at this point that May tells Gus, and Gus tells her that she's proud of her. Just then, Frankie comes in and shows Gus and Nancy the letter that she found about the story at the beginning of the movie. And Nancy's like, I can't believe that someone would lie about having an affair. And Gus is like, that's crazy. No way. And then she's like, thank God I kept all that stuff. Maybe hoarding is good. And then they go into a little joke, a little fun. Yeah, you could have missed out on this, whatever. It's time for the competition. Do you remember the TV show?
Oh, yeah, the Kitchen Clash?
Kitchen Clash.
Sorry, sometimes I stumble over my words.
I know.
there.
To start the final, Frank Jr. shows up, and he's immediately up to his nonsense. He goes and basically admits to Sergio about calling the Department of Health, and Sergio goes to punch him, but Frank Jr. swerves. He does it's called the swerve.
The old bob and weave.
That's right. It's called the weave. And Sergio hits a wall and breaks his hand. And so
he can't cook fried chicken.
Can't do that. Amanda comes to her senses and realizes that Frank Jr. and all of the men in this family have been doing this type of nonsense forever. And so she goes and she joins Team Mimi's. And so does Nancy.
Mama Nancy.
What? Seems pretty clear that they're going to win. Except, they don't. Because Mr. Chicken is the sole judge of this show, and he likes Frank Jr. And so he says, Frank Jr. won, here's your $100,000. This makes Sabrina so mad that she quits the TV show. May goes to tell Jay that she wants to stay in Merrimack, and Jay surprises her by saying it first, that he loves it in this town and wants to stay. Amanda tells Frank Jr. to get lost. This is her house. She knows where all the boards are squeaking and whatnot, so you're not allowed to stay here. I'm staying. He just kind of mopes around for a while until Nancy goes and tells him that she thinks that they should split the money with Mimi's, and maybe, join forces or something. And he opens up about how he didn't want a son to begin with, and that's why he got the vasectomy. And so all the men in this family are just giant disappointments. Womp, womp, womp. Amanda tells Sergio that she doesn't want to jump into anything, and he doesn't handle that very well. Gus decides that she is going to sell Mimi's because she doesn't have any money. She was relying on that $100,000 to come in. And as they're packing up, Shauna comes in. Great Shauna, and says, we know her name now. That's how
Shauna,
I didn't expect her to be a character
out.
that really mattered, but she really does. She comes in and she says that she wants to invest in the Chicken Sisters, a new restaurant. These two restaurants combined into one. We'll call it the Chicken Sisters. May is like, we need a lot of money. Shauna pulls up her bank account and shows that she's filthy rich. Shauna says it's not every day that you get to come in on the ground floor of a franchise. We're starting off with 2 locations. Franny and Mimi's will both be called the Chicken Sisters, and it'll be wonderful. Nancy tells Gus that she wants her to come and stay with her. Gus says that she'll think about it, but she does end up moving in there. Everybody sits down for a nice meal except for Frank Jr. Where is Frank Jr., you might be wondering? Frank Jr. is with Mr. Chicken, and they're going to start their own restaurant, Boys Against Girls. And that, my friends, was
The Chicken Sisters,
Season 1, Episode 8. The best chicken in town, y'all.
We did it.
Let's take a quick break. We will come back, and we'll break this episode down here on
Deck the Hallmark.
Man, I can't believe there's sirens in New York City. That's
and
crazy.
It's unbelievable. As Jack's
Sorry,
recording
I had it muted when Bran was giving his lovely synopsis, and then as soon as I took it off, guys, it's tough here. I got to move to Greenville.
Hallmark heard
Yeah,
somebody
you never
was,
have these problems.
somebody was treating never mind, I'll stop.
No, please don't
You
stop.
get it. You understand
We
what
get
I was
it.
gonna say?
I do know,
Yeah.
and I'm right there with
We
you.
hate to be brought into a lawsuit. Like I got it's a
I don't know what you're
triangle.
talking about.
It's a 3.
I'm talking about the Chicken Sisters.
Yes,
Same.
I am too.
Yeah, everybody is.
Yes.
A quick reminder, everybody, we're about to head into the weekend. New movies all weekend long, and you can watch them all on Philo, philo.tv/DTH. And then all of our reviews next week will be available, the video version of the show, exclusively on Philo. So come join us.
philo.tv/DTH.
Come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we only got to open up the dumb Hallmark Plus app one more time.
That's it. That's
Until...
Until
I guess we're doing those other
there's
ones.
Tea
There's
Garden
Unwrapped,
holidays.
well, there's
Unwrapped,
Unwrapped,
Cherry Lane. So what you said is just not true.
Yeah.
But
And
at
are you
least it'll be
covering?
Christmas
Did you say
themed.
we're also going to cover celebrations?
Celebrate good times.
I don't
Come on.
think we're gonna cover.
I think it's going to be Dan exclusive.
I
It's
watched,
Dan exclusive. It's a watch along. He
I
watches
watched an
Lacey.
episode while we ate wings or something, pizza in here, and you don't listen. I do my best to bring joy and to give an honest opinion without hurting anybody's feelings. You don't want any part of me doing
Well,
celebrations.
it was just,
you don't want any
you
part
were
of it.
watching and you kept saying she's too old for this. She's too old for this. And I was like, hey man, back off. That's too much. You
Still
can't do
not as
that.
bad as you calling me Frank Jr., but also
Yeah.
yes.
Oh boy, we're having fun,
yeah.
aren't we?
It's kindness
We
club.
are.
It's kindness club, Brent.
That's right. Kind
I
of.
don't want to understand. At 7 a.m., 5-year-olds learn to be kind to each other.
You'd love to see it.
Here's a check.
Let's get to the Chicken Sisters, the season finale. It's been a fun time. It's been a crazy road, a road we didn't expect to go down, and enjoy it as much as we have. But how did the season finale do it for us? Are we excited for more? Are we asking for more? That's all that we're going to discuss here on the Hot Take, and I'll kick it over.
This is so much better than we are. What are you doing? That was excellent. That was like
That was awesome, Brand.
such a great tease.
Thank you.
Like we're doing a promo on a radio. What in the world's happening right now?
Thank you.
Yeah, it felt like it was written down, but it was a very natural read of it.
Normally you just
Yeah.
kick it over, but that was like, boy, whew, man.
Jax, go.
Boy, howdy. Okay. Okay, so I always knew Shauna was going to be a star of the show. When you guys didn't remember her name,
She's a star.
I was like, guys, Shauna. So yeah, I was really excited about lots of things in this episode. There were a couple things I weren't excited about. I'll touch on those quickly. Is Sergio punching the wall? Like, I know it has to happen so that everything unfolds, but I hated it. I hated that he punched the wall. He looks like a buffoon. The fact that he would do that, it actually does seem out of character. Ick. Hated it.
I don't know. This man carries around a blanket and a pillow in his truck. So I just
All
think
above board.
maybe Sergio is that volatile, prone to expressions of big emotion that we don't want him to be, and maybe he's also a dude she shouldn't be with.
You know, when you put it like that, the second thing that really, okay, you know what? I thought I just had a Frank Jr. problem. I think I have a Sergio problem. I hated his reaction to her being like, I'm not ready to marry you right now.
Yeah. I've been with the same dude for forever. Maybe it's a no for me right now.
Sergio doesn't look great in this episode.
He doesn't look great at all.
I mean, he looks great. I think
Yeah.
we can all agree.
Well,
he
right, yeah,
looks great, but he doesn't look
Right.
great.
But he doesn't look great. But I will say so much of this episode that I absolutely loved. There's these really heartfelt moments where we really get to see Amanda express to Mama Nancy how much she loves her and relies on her when she calls her to tell her that Mama Gus has MS. When she says like I wasn't staying for him. I haven't liked being his wife for a long time. Like I love you. Like all these emotional moments. And then look how much fun when we get to see our 4 leading ladies all on the same side together, having fun, being funny, getting along. It's gosh darn adorable. And then of course, like I love teenage love. And I'm excited about this little romance that might be happening between Frankie and Lindsay. Wait,
Yeah.
did I make that up?
No, I picked up on that.
Dan
Did
looked
you?
at me like he's
100%.
not.
I think maybe you weren't paying attention during a scene because it was pretty clear the way that
Yeah,
Frankie responded.
friends, and they shook hands.
Yes,
Yeah.
but then the narration over top of it explained heartbreak and the lump in her throats.
I know the problem. The reason it resonated with me is because it talked about the monologue that she had been doing, this
Yeah.
Chekhov monologue, and how she finally understood what it meant.
Yes.
And I think Dan probably wasn't invested in this monologue. As I
probably
was.
wasn't. I definitely wasn't invested in the monologue, but still should have probably picked up on that. So my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You good?
That's Jack's act.
I'm good.
That's what.
That's
you need
Jack's
to say.
act.
With
I
his
have a couple
motivation.
sessions
Yes.
still left if anyone wants to book
wonderful.
in.
So a wonderful season of television. I felt like this series could have used 10 episodes in a season. I felt like this episode was trying to do a whole lot and wrap up a lot of storylines because you never know if you're going to get a second season. And so we got to do all these things. So like introducing MS, doing a lot, like just like here's the competition, here's the end of Sabrina's arc. She did it. She's really I just felt like they were really trying hard to wrap up everything.
That's right.
And I don't really think that they needed to do that, or they could have just used a couple more episodes because I felt like they were just trying to do so much in 8 episodes. I've been trying the best that I can to be like, hey, this whole like hoarding storyline, it's not bothering me as much as everybody else because I do feel like.
Are you coming on
well,
over?
I feel like everybody's different and everybody's unique, and so just because she's maybe not responding exactly how a class action lawsuit or whatever it is, a class B or C or
Level
whatever,
3 or
level
4.
3,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's not like everybody's a little bit different, and so. She seems so good in this episode. Like,
Yep.
not bothered at all about the fact that she lost all of her things in a fire. And actually, the fire isn't even what caused the fainting to begin with. It was the MS, which I actually just recently I read a lawsuit, and I learned that that is something that can happen with MS. Is like. Balance loss or fainting.
Yeah,
So
heard
people
that.
say don't read lawsuits. I say you can actually learn a lot from them. And so I learned that is something that can happen. But they just it just felt like, yep, that's good. Like she's even like joking about
Yes.
like
yes.
like all of her stuff.
It's embarrassing for everyone involved.
So that was unfortunate. But and then the competition I just felt like was such an afterthought in the show, and I kept forgetting that it was actually the crux of the show to begin with, like was that there was this competition, and the competition was so bad.
So bad.
Like they said,
Wouldn't have been a
we're
30-minute special on Food Network.
we're gonna have the town votes and a blind taste test to see which chicken they really like more. And I was like, yes, that's a great idea. But then Sabrina goes, but the only vote that really matters is Mr. Chicken. And I was like, for what reason?
You're taking all
For
the
what
weight once
reason?
here in your
No,
hot take brand.
But because it was tough because there's these things
Yep.
that happen in this episode that make it to where it just seemed like, hey, if we just had a little bit more time, we could have made this a lot better. So I just felt like it was a bit of a overstuffed, rushed season finale, unfortunately, but I'm still here for season 2. And overall, I thought the season was really solid. Dano?
Definitely had a classic. We want to hedge our bets, and we want to create a season finale that could serve as a series finale if it needs to, but also leave you with a cliffhanger, and they're caught in between there, and that was unfortunate. Here's what I'll say. The good news is that I didn't on my best day think that when we started the Chicken Sisters, the overarching theme was going to be a dismantling of the patriarchy. And it was more important than anything. It was more important than Southern culture. It was more important than family dynamics or drama or mental health issues or anything else. The number one agenda of this season of television was talking about women helping women defying preconceived and pre-described and prescribed gender roles, doing all the things that they are capable to do because they're human beings. And that was awesome.
For that reason, you're out. Oh, it was awesome.
That was awesome. That was amazing. I don't want to steal my good friend Alonzo Duraldi's words when he talked about Barbie and said, well, it's feminism 101, but unfortunately we need feminism 101. That's what this show was. And if you couldn't read the subtext of literally everyone abandoning Frank Jr. and, in my opinion, also Sergio, because every dude on this show is terrible because he is representative of something bigger at play here. And I thought that the show nailed that. Having said that, everything Brand said, I agree with. The fact that we just forget about the hoarding plot line altogether was laughably embarrassing. That we just all of a sudden have a show where this woman had a clear mental illness and then now she doesn't. She's moved on to MS. I couldn't. If When Calls the Heart had done that, I would have spent 20 minutes talking about how bad the show was. So I can't let Chicken Sisters slide on that when they did the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, best case scenario, next season starts with Gus opening up her door in the room that she has in Nancy's house, and it's just full of stuff.
Maybe.
And you see that, just lighting your house on fire is not
and I still hate
cure
that
you need.
but I guess that is the best case scenario for that particular plot line.
I've always said the best case scenario
Sometimes
is
still sucks.
is that your mental illness never goes away. That's not what I'm saying here. I was just saying for the show.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
And also I hated there's a couple things within there that I hated that I'll leave for the wait what's. But I hated the fact that we got rid of that storyline, and then I hated Kitchen Clash. By the end of the show, and I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, Rukia Bernard's character was the character I didn't want to watch the most. Of the characters that I was pulling for, she was the one that I just felt like I love that she quit at the end of this, but it was fairly unrealistic. And also I just was like, let's get the reality crew out of here. Let's get them out of here right now. Having said that, I started to really love May by the end of this. I think Jay is a very redeemable partner in this episode and in this television program.
Yeah, that's a good guy.
Yeah, Jay
that's
is a great guy in this.
We're looking for good boys.
Yeah. I also believe that the town coming together, someone that's trying to hide the fact that she has an ailment that gives her a disability, and the town coming together and making sure that disability and her accessibility didn't change. They didn't blink about it. You don't hear anyone talk about the wheelchair after they say you got to go in a wheelchair. You don't hear it. She's in a wheelchair in all these scenes. Nobody says a word. They just do it because accessibility helps everyone. It helps everyone. Accessibility for people that need it get helped. Accessibility for people that don't need it also get helped. And the way that they handled that in this show is something that I would like to see reflected in real life. Brandon, back to you.
Thanks, Dan. It's time for All the Feels. It's where we talk about what in this episode gave us feels. Jax.
Guys, here we are again where your hot takes gave me feels. Thank you both. Okay, I'm gonna start with gross feels. Lanced a boil with a pocket knife.
Woof.
Is that something people do, my friends?
I have had a giant blister when I was 8 years old, lanced with a pocket knife before. So there was pus involved. I'm sorry. You asked me. I'm telling you.
No. I genuinely want to know.
Boys
that was
love
genuine.
pocket knives.
It was.
Boys love pocket knives.
People in the South love pocket
they
knives.
love it.
I still to this day in my Chevy Blazer EV keep a Leatherman. Like I keep a thing. I don't know why. I don't think I've ever had use for it. But if you were like, I need something to open a bottle of wine or lance a boil, I have something in my car and I used to carry it on my person at all times, and I'm embarrassed to say that out loud. So there you go.
No, let me tell you, it might come to that because while I haven't had a boil, I had a wart that I removed before I came down to Greenville. Next time, who knows? They grow back. I might need you to
I
lance
have
that
wart
off for me.
freezer in my Blazer. I'm just kidding. I don't have Can you imagine if I had compound W in my blazer? It's like, I got it. Don't worry about it.
No problem. I'll
That's
take
something
care of
that
that
you would have in your
word
pickup
for you,
truck,
little
but not
lady.
in your electric
That's right.
vehicle.
I've got to make room there.
Everyone knows
For
you
sure.
lost
But
your man card when you switched from your truck to your EV.
I miss my
Who do you-
truck.
what in the
but
southern gentleman do you think you
I
are?
love my EV. It is what it is, guys. I am who I am. Sorry.
You gotta start carrying that wart freezer for
That's
me.
right. Yeah.
I loved when Gus tells May that she's proud of her. It was a beautiful moment, and then
Yeah.
punctuated by the little funny thing that she was like, looks like those fan incident checks are going to keep rolling in. Like, they can't stay in that for too long, which I really, really loved. And then, I had super turned on feels when Shauna goes up and says, Mr. Chicken, my name is Shauna Beth Faye, self-proclaimed Forbes 30 over 30. And then they had this electric chemistry. Love that moment. And two more, because I thought it was so good. Leah Thompson, we are always talking about what your daddy would do. Maybe we should have thought about what your mama would do.
Get it.
Again,
That's
dismantling
right.
the patriarchy. And then finally, okay, when Mr. Chicken was saying about Frank Jr., nevertheless, he persisted. It was a quick cut to Lindsay, and the look on her face, it wasn't overdone at all. It was just kind of like, are you kidding me? Really well played by that actor. So lots of fun feels this episode. I'm really excited for hopefully this season 2 that I really, really hope that we get.
You nailed a lot of them. I did really like the moment at the end where
Jax
they,
isn't going to take your wait what, but I'll be danged if she's not going to take all the
Yes.
feels
Yes,
because
that's
she
right.
just rifled through
That's
a
right.
half dozen.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, they were all
Go ahead,
they were all
sorry.
really good. I really liked the moment at the end where they all sat down at the table.
Yeah.
And Frank Jr. was noticeably missing, and I thought that the song was really nice. "Crowded Table" by the High Women. I thought it was a perfect song choice for that moment and that montage at the end. I thought it really worked. Dan.
Yeah, one of mine was taken by Jax, but I will repeat the line because
is
it's
it?
the hardest I've laughed all season. Shauna says, she introduces herself and says, self-proclaimed Forbes 30 over 30, which is fantastic. Just the line delivery, everything about that is perfect. It's a perfect line delivery by a
good.
perfect character, and I laughed really, really hard. And then my favorite scene was Nancy insisting that Gus live with her. Actual chills. A lot of people like to run with the out of context verse "love your neighbor" as to what they think it means. That's your mortal enemy, and you're like, no, you need to live at my house. That was awesome. I got actual chills from that moment. Do I have some qualms with how we got Gus to that moment? Sure. But that moment was awesome. Great moment of television, and it really worked for me.
Dan, I have to say, when Gus said that she's never had that before, and Mama Nancy doesn't get all sentimental in
Nope.
it, she's like, "Well, it's about time you do," and that's when it got me. Too.
Yeah.
Good
It's about time
Lord.
to do. Yeah. It's
Yep.
just the right thing to do. It's not anything
the
else.
right
It's
thing to
just
do.
this is what needs to be done because it's the right thing to do. It's not about me. It's not about anything else. It's just I have the ability to help someone in need. I'm going to do it.
Well,
That's
wait until
awesome.
next season when Gus is fully reliant on Nancy for everything. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back here on Deck the Homer. Welcome back, everybody. Chicken Sisters episode. I'm Bran. That's Dan. Jax is here. We're having a lot of fun. It's time for the Wait What. It's where we talk about what in this episode made us go, wait, what? I'll kick it over to you, Jax.
I only have one, and Dan's right. I'm never going to take anyone's wait what. My wait what for this, and I actually was like angry about it. We see Frankie Jr. or Frankie Jr.
Frankie J.
Frankie.
Frankie J. Doing her audition for Juilliard or NYU or Yale. I forget which famous school she's auditioning for. Do you guys remember?
No.
Juilliard.
One of the big Juilliard. Okay, and
No, NYU.
NYU.
About to say,
Okay.
I would have
NYU.
remembered Juilliard.
Thought it through.
Yeah.
It's NYU.
And it cuts to her mama and Lindsay in the audience being proud of her. Now, was that a great
can't do
moment? And
that.
did they act it very well? Yes. This is an audition.
You cannot do that.
You cannot do that. And I was a little bit like, I would have loved to have that moment of like either like the audition, then she comes out and she like just gives a nod. Not even like I got in, but like I did a good job and they hug her or something. But they did such a good job of her actually being a good actress when it comes to that monologue, picking a lovely monologue, and then ruining it with them being in the audition. No, thank you.
The NYU people would have been like, "Who's that? What's going on? This is not open.
What's
Is
happening?
this a closed? It's not a closed
It's
audition?
not a closed audition."
What if there was just everyone was in there? It was packed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes more sense at least.
See, actually, no, that actually would have made more sense to me because they do these things for grad school auditions called ERDAs where actually a bunch of people watched our audition. And that's like, I could have gone with that, but just seeing the two of them in there, like this precious little thing, I was like, look, I expect this from Hallmark Linear, but not Hallmark Plus.
That's right.
Classic Hallmark linear.
Yeah.
Classic.
That's right.
Classic.
You all can show up and you can cheer as loud as you want to, but at the end of the day, Mr. Chicken's going to be the one that decides
That's
if
right.
you're in or not. So
That's right.
That's right. Oh, that would have been funny.
Yeah, Mr. Chicken's over
He's
there
over there
being
in the
like,
corner like, man, no.
no.
Didn't like your syntax.
He judges everything. I've got a few. One, Sabrina finally gets fed up and she's ready to speak her truth and tell everybody that she quits and all this stuff. But she delivers most of this after she takes off her microphone.
That's right. Yeah,
So,
that's tough.
You know, that's tough for the folks at home. They're like, what's
Yeah.
she saying?
You have an opportunity there.
Something about something about her daughter. I don't know. Just maybe leave the microphone on until
Yeah.
you've done,
Fair.
bearing it all out there. But the worst part of this though was her trying to convince us that kitchen clash is hard to say.
It's fundamentally
Listen,
not hard to say.
I have a real hard time talking.
What?
And I think everybody knows that. Kitchen clash is not hard to say, right, Jax?
Well, what about when you throw on Ultimate Kitchen Clash?
Ultimate
no,
Kitchen
still,
Clash.
Still easy to
There's a
say.
lot of hard consonants there.
Yeah.
It's not
Kitchen
Ultimate
Clash.
Kitchen Clash. Yeah, you're right.
Ultimate kitchen clash.
easy. It's one of the it's easier than Diners, Drive-In. Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives is pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. I just
next Food Network star. These are all easy things to say. Great
Yeah,
British
I don't
Bake
think
Off.
the
Great British Bake Off is harder to say than Ultimate
Great
Kitchen Clash.
British Bake Off.
Yeah.
But more fun.
It is
but
more fun, to
fun.
say. Yeah,
Yeah.
It is, and just a more fun show. Lastly, they tease this for just a second, and I guess we'll see if they do anything with this. But Amanda ends this episode by casually drawing a comic of chickens, and I don't know if we're going to do anything with that next year. If she's going to be like put out her zine, and it ends with a comic
looks
about
like
chickens.
she's doing a comic
Yeah.
strip about chickens.
It's just a full chicken comic. Is that going to
Weird.
be her new thing? I don't know, but they don't.
Yeah, Aaron.
I'm excited. Okay, hi, Aaron.
Her drawing chickens is a huge part of the book.
So it is. She does
So she
draw.
draws
She does
chickens.
draw a chicken.
yeah,
It's a part
so
of this.
I think it'll come back. And
Okay,
like,
great.
if there's a
comic
season two.
strip.
Does she do
I-
chicken comic?
Because she draws a lot of chickens throughout the season,
Yeah.
but in
Yeah,
this,
no, she's drawing like a book.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
in the-
that's what
Great.
happens
Yeah.
at the end of the
Yeah.
episode. It's
Yeah,
a
this
book,
was
but
like
it looks
a
like
chicken
a comic strip.
with
Yeah.
like a speech bubble, which I thought was reserved for
Yeah.
Chicken of the Week. So
No.
Yeah.
Her son Gus, who doesn't exist in the show, sends her drawings off to art school for her.
how about
Cool,
So
good
she's
to
like
know.
gonna do a book. Yeah.
There you
that?
go.
Maybe she
There
gets
you
into
have it.
NYU. That'd
Yeah.
be fun.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't make it, but maybe you can get in. Dan?
They do this thing where Jay, May's fiance or boyfriend, I don't remember which, is starting to love Marinac, and which is hilarious in general. I just the idea. This is maybe the least favorite part of the show is has grown up in these small towns my whole life. The idea that this like 35-year-old Middle Eastern man comes to this town of just all white people, and he's like, I've never felt like I fit in anywhere more in my life, is really, really funny to me in general, even if they may be wonderful people. But that idea where literally no one looks like you or talks like you or anything, and you just are like, these are my people, this is my place. Really funny. But in part of his journey where he finds out white small town is where he belongs, there's a scene where he skips rocks, and you need to go watch this scene because he is standing with his back facing the water. And then he continues to like contort his back around to skip the rocks. And I've seen and been a part of a lot of rock skipping. You pretty much always face the water. Like it's not a Survivor endurance challenge. You're just skipping rocks. So it's weird that he's facing away from the water to skip rocks, like they wanted a certain camera angle or something. But it was and maybe Brand didn't even blink at it. And I was like, this is the weirdest scene of this episode, is this guy twisting his upper body to skip rocks instead of just turning around and facing the water. Jax, did you notice that at all?
So I've never skipped rocks, but I was like, why does he look like he's throwing a shot put?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked weird to me.
Well,
Yeah.
as somebody who, in the early days of COVID, when there was no sports and ESPN switched to playing weird stuff, they I got sucked into a rock throwing
That sounds
competition,
right.
a rock skipping competition, and there was lots of different techniques there. I learned a lot. That was actually a really enjoyable program.
Yeah, thank you,
Would
Brand.
watch
Appreciate it.
again.
Would watch again. And then my last one, Brand talked about his hot take, but the end of this Food Network season of television, Ultimate Kitchen Clash, is crazy.
How'd you
underwhelming.
say that?
I know, it's tough. I've been working on it. I have a dialect coach,
Yeah.
that I've been working with.
Ultimate
Kitchen Clash.
Wow.
What helps is they all end with hard consonants. Is really, pretty easy.
You're doing really well, Dan, on all our hard work together. It's really paid off.
Thank you. I didn't want to say my dialect coach was Jax,
Yeah,
but
it's
Jax.
okay. I don't mind.
That's right.
Jax Axe.
Jax Axe. This show, which my wife and I used to watch Next Food Network Star every year in the early 2010s, and an occasional Chopped, an occasional show here or there from Food Network. What I know about cooking competition shows is you never have one judge. You never have just one judge. There's a lot of reasons that you never have one judge, but the main reason that you never have one judge is so they can't do exactly what happens in this episode, which is this tastes better, but they earned it. This group of people, in my estimation, earned it, and so even though they had the better food, I'm going to give it to the person who got abandoned by everybody because he's a terrible human being. Anyway, a show would never end with this, and they promise us a town-wide blind taste test. Talk about a punt. I would have loved. Can you imagine getting to see the townsfolk try both fried chicken restaurants without knowing which is which, and having to give an honest vote over which is better, and hearing the results of that? That's good television. Instead, that's happening off screen. We have one judge who's going to decide independently who to give the entire grand prize to, and I hated that.
Could have ended in a tie.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were going to do.
Turns out that they have been using the same recipe all these years.
Same exact chicken.
Chicken's the exact same.
chicken.
Same chicken.
Yeah.
Same chicken. Let's combine it. Let's get to the chicken or fried. It's where we talk about what in this episode is giving us, making us chicken or fried for next season of the Chicken Sisters. Jax?
Yeah, I'm chicken and fried, both. Am I allowed to be both? I think we said no, but
I'm chicken and fried.
about whatever this budding romance between these two lovely young ladies. Is it going to be something? Like, what is it going to be? I'm very interested to see where that
It is
goes.
Hallmark Plus, so it has a chance.
That's right.
It's got a chance. Although I will say I know that these two actresses are, I'm sure they're actually like adults. There's always something with thinking of people as kids and thinking about them kissing.
Yeah.
That always feels like to me. But I think that, they'll be in college, so I think it's fine. So good luck and Godspeed. I want to see the romance happen. Or not. I love heartbreak too. Unrequited love is the second best kind of love.
That's right.
Jax is going to make lemonade. You need to know that.
I will.
She's going to make lemonade. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm a little bit chicken that next season might not be good.
Yes, I'm in the same boat with you,
There's
Brand.
some stuff, they did a lot in this episode. The last season of The Way Home, if you remember, Dan, it felt like they didn't do anything.
Yeah,
Remember
I do
that?
remember that. I do recall that.
This show did the opposite,
That's
and I
right.
think we could maybe meet in the middle. We could have drug out some of these storylines a little bit, give it a little more meat,
a little more sauce.
a little more sauce, a little more chicken skin. I don't know. I think we could. There's some story that could have been told next season that was rushed through this season, and so now I'm worried that next season won't be much. But if everybody's coming to town, are we going to get to see Sabrina and Hot Handyman getting together? Maybe she's sticking around. There's things that we could do, and I'm intrigued by the characters enough to where I have hope. But we'll see what happens. I'm cautiously optimistic. So I'm like chicken that was thrown in the fryer, pulled out real quick.
Flash fried.
Flash fried.
Yeah, I'm pure chicken for next year, and I can't be Mimi's or Franny's because they don't exist anymore. I'm pure chicken for season 2. The beauty of this show was that Mimi's and Franny's both had characters that were sympathetic, that you pulled for, and both had characters that were either terrible or at the very least not being good to other people. Now we have a clear good guys, bad guys situation, or good girls, bad guys, more like it. But I don't think there's nearly as much drama there. I'm sure they will work up something, but I don't know how I'm supposed to find it as interesting or as credible. And so I'm very, very, very concerned about a season. I would almost prefer not to have a season 2 of Chicken Sisters, if I'm being honest.
But you always want shows to end after one season.
That's not true, but I think you think it is because I say it about your favorite shows.
You say it a lot about a
like
lot of
Stranger
things.
Things, if it's one season and 11 is just dead at the end, I think is like one of the best pure pop entertainment things we've had. And instead we get the same show every year. And I watch it. I watch it every year and I love it. But like,
both can be true.
There's some diminishing returns there.
Impossible.
And I feel like
I just want to say this. One thing that I am fried for is more Shauna next season.
More Shauna, honey.
And I
For
think
sure.
what's interesting is Shauna was clearly, her and Mr. Chicken clearly had some tension, as mentioned by Jax. And next season,
Mr. Chicken's terrible. He's a terrible human being.
So Mr. Chicken.
But she can change it.
Oh boy.
But
Oh,
now we're in competition. She's now invested in the Chicken Sisters. Mr. Chicken is now invested in Frank Jr. How are those two?
I don't want to live in a world where Shauna's going for Mr. Chicken. You know what I mean? Like I love Shauna, and I hate Mr. Chicken.
It's fair. Speaking of Mr. Chicken, let's get to Chicken of the Week.
Yes.
It is where we dive deep into the life of a chicken that has been emailed in to hello@deckthehallmark.com. I guess you should say nominated.
Nominated, yes.
It is election
we
season.
choose the best of them. Aaron does. She just sends them to me, obviously.
Yes,
This
obviously.
is Keeber?
Keeber.
Keeber.
Yes.
I don't know anything else. It just says Keeber chicken feed eater is all it says.
It says Keeber chicken feet eater.
Chicken feed eater.
Oh, chicken
It's not
feed
a chicken eating her own feet. That would be a different.
That'd be ridiculous.
Keeber, do we have Keeber on the line?
Yep, it's me. It's Keeber.
Keeber. how's
Keeber
it-
in the house.
Okay, so normally we talk to the farmer, but it sounds like you can talk, Keeber.
Yes. Yes.
Keeber, what does Keeber chicken feed eater mean?
So it's a couple of things. When I was in high school, no, it was middle school. When I was in middle school, I was picked on.
Okay.
I had a lot of acne.
Chickens go to middle school?
Yeah, we go to middle school. Read a book. So I had a lot of acne, and I was, people made fun of me a lot. And so one day I decided I'm going to show you. And I did a lot of things.
Chickens get acne?
Yes, read a book. So what I did was I ran around in circles. People saw me. They said, look at those circles. And then everybody started running around in circles too. And I stopped running around in circles. And I said, look at you guys. You guys are so silly.
Where do we get to the chicken feed? Or can we just wrap this? Just make that long story a short one.
Right, so I started to say it to them. And then they said it back. It became like a chant. And, kind of like It's a Small World.
No.
So when you're on the ride, it's
No,
a small.
I
I've
don't-
been to Disney.
Keeber.
So when
This is
you've been on
more-
It's a Small World.
Keeber, this is more than I bargained for, and I want
Well,
out.
don't ask the questions, D.
I want out.
I call you D.
Yeah, I can tell.
That's
you
what I call you.
went to middle school, had acne, the whole thing.
Yes.
Would prefer you didn't.
All that to say, It's a Small World. It's a song, and it keeps going on a loop.
Hey, Keeb,
Yeah.
can you call us back later?
No, my minutes are up.
Great. Awesome. Minutes are up, and there are no rollover minutes. Great.
I don't know, actually.
Keeber is our fine Keeber
God
of the
bless
week.
everybody.
God bless. Thank you.
That was so cute.
Keeper's cute. Did you know that? Did you know that? Kid, did you know that about Keeper? Did you know that chickens can have acne?
I
Went to middle
did.
school? You did
Yeah.
not.
I did.
You read the book.
Yeah. The vulnerability was really sweet.
Keeper's got a good spirit about him.
I don't. I just disagree with everything you guys are saying about
Agree to
Keeper.
disagree. We did, everybody. Chicken Sisters in the books. Jax, you're going to be back with us all holiday season long, talking about some Netflix, some hot frosty, etc. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful weekend. We're going to be back next week with a full slate of fun stuff. Until then, we were the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.